So if anything, we can just play something or whatnot. Give me a second. Okay, guys, I apologize. I'm here again. Zombie Andre here with Spartan. I apologize, guys. My computer that I'm streaming this on is being really bad. So I've had issues with this computer. I need to get it into one of my friends. He's a really good computer person because this has been something that's kind of happened regularly. So I'll need to talk to one of my tech friends. But until I can do that, we're gonna have to change up the stream. So usually we'll stream it straight to YouTube. What we're gonna probably have to do starting next week is we will stream it to Twitch, and then we will upload that video straight to YouTube. So it should be on YouTube by I think it should be on YouTube by the end of the day. It might just come out maybe a day later is what I'm thinking. Because I'm trying to think how long it takes for the video to go up on Twitch. I think it's pretty simultaneous, so I think I will be able to get it up, the video, by the end of the day, if I'm remembering correctly. I haven't used Twitch in a while, so sadly that's what we're going to have to probably do until I can get this thing addressed. I don't know how long it's going to take to get it addressed, but I apologize, everyone, if who was listening to the conversation and everything. I apologize. It's just my computer, man. It's not working. So as I said, starting next week, we'll be doing it on Twitch, which means we'll probably be playing something. I don't know what it will be. Me and Spartan will figure that out when it happens. But yeah, I don't know what it'll be. But yeah, it'll be fun and interesting. So I apologize for that again, guys. Okay, so where do we leave off in the conversation? I'm trying to think.
So I was talking about Omega just being casual with Rampart, or not Rampart, with Hemlock in the base.
Oh yeah.
So again, I don't know where exactly it left off, but
the
point I was trying to make was
you were saying that how I said that it's not. I was saying I guess like it's her curiosity that he finds interesting, but I don't think it's that. It's more
no,
that
I meant exactly where I left off.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Oh. I think
yeah. To make it short and sweet, yes, I do think it's more off the respect. Omega chose to come here and stop the whole deployment on Pabu, and then she, I think Hemlock respected it enough to give her the choice, like, okay, continue to be a problem here and face the consequences of being an actual prisoner, or actually help us with the research. Your help would be much appreciated, but again, if I were Hemlock, I would have chained her up. I would have had her flown into her cell. I'd have her in a solitary confinement and actually limit and monitor any socialization she has with anyone else. Even Emery. Because I think by now there have been plenty of seeds that Hemlock should be smart enough to pick up on Emery caring.
you
I mean, hell,
think.
well, he gave one of the test subjects a doll, or she gave one of the test subjects a doll.
She probably didn't. He probably didn't know about that.
Well, I mean, who else is going to give the doll that Omega held dearly to her when she was prisoner here to another kid? Because Nala Say's in prison.
Well,
so
think
who's
about
the only other person?
Well, also, I think Emery went to go see Namasei in her little prison. I don't even think Hemlock even knew that.
Well, that's very true. But that's what I'm saying. There's so many of these things that Hemlock should pick up on. And personally, I don't think the whole Nalase and Emery thing should be huge. I do think he should be monitoring that conversation. But this is the chief of research asking the ex-chief of research about research. It's kind of business. I don't think he necessarily has that reason to implicate her. But again, it's Omega's doll. Like, why give Omega's doll? Why show any care to the test subject? And that's something I do wonder if he'll pick up on, maybe when we pick back up on that story from this episode, when he's like guiding Omega into the thing. Yeah. Is he going to see the doll and make the connection, and then Omega confront Ava about it? Is that going to be a thing? Or are we just going to completely overlook it? Exactly. But I want to go back to the point I was making just as I realized we crashed. I hate that Hemlock was so casual with Omega going into the vault. You know why?
Why?
You know how those look like death lasers, like from the whole Darth Maul scene back in episode 1?
Yeah.
Why is Omega completely uncuffed? What if she like tripped Hemlock in the hallway and there goes his fucking head?
I think, as I said, that'd be funny, but
it'd be hilarious.
But I think it's because he knows that she came back. I think there's mutual respect between both of them, like what you were saying.
I know what I've been saying.
But I think it's also because I still think Hemlock knows more that Omega wants to know about the project, and that's the reason that she's not really fighting. But also, I think it's because, think about it. Do you think she knows that that Crosshair fucked up on the tracker?
Probably not.
So she probably thinks, oh, they're coming. So I'm gonna play it cool, I'll listen to him.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
So,
but I still think, like, why is she not more?
I think it's also because Hemlock has to kind of treat her. He's trying to be nice with her because, as like what he said, like she's like a big part of this thing. So he's gonna be very.
Need her.
Yes.
She has the upper hand, whether she realizes it or not.
Yes. So he's gonna be very nice. Be like, come on, let me show you. This is where you're gonna be. Maybe she's gonna get her own suite.
Nah, she's not.
Get butler service.
I mean, she's gonna get one of those. She's gonna get one of those rooms. That's for damn sure.
She's gonna get whatever she wants. She's like, I want some chocolate cake. They'll be like, hell yeah, we got you.
Nah.
That's kind of funny. That actually did happen, to be honest. But no, but she's gonna definitely get better treatment than probably most of the people or most of the other kids in there.
Here's the thing that upsets me about that whole idea. One, I do feel like Hemlock would be smart enough to even confront Omega on that. To confront her on something more along the lines of, you can't hurt me right now because if I die, well, you're screwed. You're dead.
If I get fucked, you get fucked.
Like, yeah, if she had pushed him into a laser and she came out the other side of the lasers alive and he wasn't, I'm sure she'd be shot on sight.
She would die.
Not, Emery would have to take her into custody and then do more harsh things to her.
Okay, I guess technically she would have died.
Back to it. I don't think they ever have to treat her with respect because we've seen the Empire torture people. Like, they can let her blood out, give her time to recover, let her blood out again. Like, they could keep doing that. They could force her into absolute cruelty. You know? There's no reason necessarily to be nice with her when they could get what they want. Maybe it's just too much of a risk, and that's why they're not doing it.
I think that's why Hemlock's being really nice. Yeah, I like what you're saying. That's probably why Hemlock's being really nice with her.
But I don't like the idea of Omega playing nice with them, necessarily. Or I feel like it could be a bit more on edge. I don't know. It's just weird with Omega. Because, I mean, mind you, she is acting very mature, and I gotta give her respect. But just something about it doesn't set right. Like, it's almost out of character for her.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's like, okay. It's just weird. It's just weird to me.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
But as for our future with this whole thing, with this whole issue, next episode, I'd like to think we're probably going to get more Emery and Omega, and they're going to go over science stuff. And I did look up the clip that I was referring to, which is just the very end, the last bit with Rampart and the Bad Batch in the episode.
Yeah. What did Hemlock say?
So, not Hemlock, Rampart.
Oh, Rampart.
Maybe I said Hemlock, but still, Rampart. Rampart says to the Bad Batch, okay, because they ask where it is. He says he has no idea. Nobody knows where it is. It was designed that way.
Makes sense.
But he says he thinks he has a way around that. And then, I know Hunter probably says something. And then Rampart says, I don't know what you mean, or whatever do you mean? We're in this together now. So, I'm really wondering what, oh, I just had a fucking thought.
Okay, share the thought.
Because I'm trying to think, what's the best way to get around it? You gotta find someone who knows where Tantus is. And I want to say maybe Rampart can go to an Imperial outpost, check in his codes, pull a whole Mandalorian, what was that, Season 2, Episode 6, I believe? Episode 7, maybe, with Bill Burr, where they enter the data chit, do their whole data scan, find the base, and then dip, Maybe that's a thing. But the idea I'm coming up with is, he says we're in this together now, which means I feel like it's something that has history with Rampart specifically.
Okay.
So I'm curious if what they're going to do next episode is they are going to bait the Shadow into finding the Bad Batch, confronting the Shadow, find out who the Shadow is, and using the Shadow to get back to Tantus. Because more than likely, it's Commander Cody. Like, I'm calling it, it's Commander Cody. It kills off the character. We know what happens to them.
It's dead.
They're lost,
Okay.
And Cody would have been, like, probably the first of the Shadows, first off. Maybe a project even Rampart oversaw. So maybe he even knows what happened to Cody after Cody went AWOL. Or was announced AWOL, because there was that whole moment between Crosshair and Rampart back in Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, they bait him in, they capture him, they subdue him, they do something to him, unmask him. Maybe try and bring Cody back to the light as he gets answers from them. But I feel like that's the angle. I feel like that's what we gotta play at. I feel like it's gotta be the Shadow. And I feel like that gives a really big way to round out the Shadow's character before the finale.
Yeah. That'd
Because
probably
the
be the best
Shadow,
bet.
as important as he's been this season, because I think he's been even more important than Emery has.
Yeah.
Maybe even more important than Hemlock, honestly. Just because Hemlock's leading the research, but he's not a threat, per se. His research is the problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
So, I feel like this is a good way to get him out of the way for the actual, final stuff. But I feel like that's just what we gotta do. I feel like that's the only way we are getting back to it, is by taking out the Shadow and using the Shadow to get to Tantus.
I would agree with you on that. I think that's the only way, because they're the only ones that would probably know how to get back to Tantus.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention the ship.
Yeah, the ship.
If they get a hold of that ship, the ship probably has the coordinates programmed in.
Yeah. Um,
So yeah.
I wonder if Rampart's probably gonna be bait.
Ooh.
Because think about it, they literally just broke him out, and
I don't know.
because I don't know, I just can't see the Shadows going after the Bad Batch because literally the only reason they went after was to get Omega. They got Omega, bada bing, bada boom, bum. So,
but then why Rampart?
I don't know. I don't know how important Rampart is to the whole thing.
Rampart doesn't know about Tantus. Rampart doesn't know about, you know, Rampart probably doesn't even know about Project Necromancer, to be totally fair.
Probably not.
He just knows he sent clones to that base, you know? So, like, what would be the Shadow's next target? How can we bait the Shadow?
I don't know.
I want to keep ruin on this thought, because I feel like there is other stuff we can or could talk about. But, like, you know, right now, audience members, if you do happen to catch us or catch this afterward and want to leave us a comment or something, you know, let us know. Let us know what you think.
Yes, and we will talk about it in the next episode.
Because another thing I do want to bring up, another character, because I was going over the whole thing with Rex, Regger, and Wolf. You know, I feel like Rex should want to care for all of his clone brothers that he knows of.
Yeah.
So why not care for someone like Cut? What about Cut?
I'm trying to remember who Cut is.
You don't remember Cut? Bad Batch, Episode 2, and Clone Wars. He was the clone who escaped the Republic.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
So he has 2 kids on the run, and Season 2, they were left trying to get off planet because of an Imperial settlement.
Yeah.
You know, like, I feel like Rex has a way to contact Cut, but I feel like Cut could be a target. I feel like that'd be another great way to round out a character, you know? Because, to be fair, by Rebels' time, Cut could be dead, just by aging alone.
Yeah, I was going to say, he might be dead, though.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying, though. What if we kill him in this show?
Oh, okay, I see what you mean, yeah. Well, that'd be sad.
Question.
Oh,
well, yeah, but what I'm saying is maybe Cut's a target because he's one of the clones that got away.
That's
true. He knows how to evade the Empire. Maybe they need that information. Maybe they want that information, like the Empire.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, I feel like Cut's always a great character. I feel like it was really a shock in Season 2 when we got him again, but I loved when we got him in Season 1 because it fit. You know, a clone with a kid. Which, again, the Clone Commando books don't like play into it at all.
Yeah.
But the Clone Commando kid has the whole arc where a clone has a kid. So this is kind of my little distinct from that book or from those books. So again, really fun to see Cut as a character. I'd love to figure out kind of what happened with his story. If there's a comic or a book out there, please recommend. But otherwise, I don't know what happens to him afterward.
I have no idea. Be honest with you, I have no idea. Huh. That'd be interesting.
So back to the thing. Where does the Shadow go?
I don't know. I really don't know. I can't think of anyone that's
Big enough
or wanted unless they find some kid that's the only person I possibly could think of is it's some kid that has a high midichlorian count because you know they are hunting kids, or maybe they go with maybe they actually bounty hunter.
I was gonna say I have another idea.
Cad Bait.
No, nope. You know who'd be another really important asset, I feel like, to this whole process?
Who?
Boba.
Oh, bringing Boba.
If we, well, because here's the thing. I can't imagine Boba really works for the Empire. He probably gets contracts from the Empire, but not works for them.
Yeah.
In a project like Project Necromancer, let's say you lost a test subject, or maybe even lost Omega. Maybe you need to recreate that using the genetic strand of material that came directly from the source.
Yeah.
You know? Maybe they have to use Boba to recover if anything were to happen. And so it could be really neat to see how the Empire recruits Boba even in these times.
Yeah.
Because Boba we've gone back and forth trying to figure out how much older, but maybe like 5 years older than Omega. What do you think Omega is age-wise? Personally, I can't see more than 12. I cannot see more than 12 years old with Omega.
I would say, I would say what you're saying, 12, maybe 13 at most.
Yeah, like,
But
I don't see her being late teen. I still see her very early teen, but
if she is, very early.
But 13 and 12 still feels like it's pushing it, because, that's when a lot of, like, hormonal issues kind of come in. And so, I don't know if it's too... Like, if 13 and 12 sounds too late. Not that we need this from Omega, of course, but I feel like she doesn't have those complications. And that could just be part of the whole clone program. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that's just not a thing for her.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't see that in my mind, that she is too old to be, like, a preteen. Even.
Yeah.
But, anyway, going back to it, if we say Boba's maybe no more than 5 years older than her, that puts him around 17. He'd be, like, he'd be a coming age of an adult.
A young, strapping man.
Uh-huh. Well, he'd be strapped all right. He'd be fucking armed to the teeth. Being, part Mandalorian.
And Omega's like, whoa, who are you?
Otherwise, looking back at our roster, it's like Ventress, I feel like, should be one of our next approaches. But that's only because she is one of the, like, high-tier bounty hunters. She's one of the Class A's, I believe is how they define them. She's a Class A, Cad Bane is a Class A. I imagine Boba would be, but maybe not yet, be a Class A.
Because I'm assuming Boba, he became a bounty hunter after his father died, I'm assuming.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, we knew that from Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about the episode a number of times where Ventress becomes a bounty hunter and works with Boba.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
And we've seen the whole thing where bounty hunters break him out of Camino or some facility, And, like, he is a bounty hunter in that situation, even.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see something with Boba. And, folks, I've said it here on the channel before, I really hope we get live-action Omega in the Book of Boba Fett series. I feel like that's a character angle that we could really use for Boba right now. And it gives Omega direction when the Bad Batch is eventually killed off.
Yeah.
Because still holding out hopes that they die in the season.
They're going to live.
I don't want them to live only because I don't want to keep thinking what happens to them. I want them to die because we are so cluttered with this whole timeline.
With lots of characters.
Clone Wars, from Clone Wars to the end of the Empire, that we need we need to go outside this range. That doesn't mean I like High Republic, and it doesn't mean I like the sequel series. Quite. I mean, it's okay. Episode 8 or episode was it 7? 7 I liked. For what was, especially compared to the other two.
I like 7, but
yeah, but not 8 or 9.
8 or 9. It kind of
No.
that's the bad thing. Like I remember when I went to go see 7. I know I'm going off a tangent, but like I think the thing that I enjoyed it was because of the possibilities of how everything was set up, and then kind of learning how the other two movies were just not cohesive at all. They were not like, here's our plan.
And we've gone over this before, where it's like they had so much potential with episode 7, and all those plot lines that they set up flopped because of all the changes they made and put into episode 8 and 9. Everything we loved about 7 fell short because 8 and 9 did not live up to those expectations.
Everything we loved about Poe Dameron and Finn, gone.
Exactly. Yep. Like, fuck their character. Nah. They can go back to where they belong, not in this universe. Like, okay, fuck off. But going back to my tangent, as much as I like that series, I feel like that's something they need to explore on their own time. You know? I feel like right now, story-wise, like the height of right now is post-Imperial. Like, not sequel saga. We're not there yet. But, like, the whole thing with Ahsoka, the whole thing with Mando, the whole thing with Thrawn. Like,
yeah.
Dude, there's so much potential there.
And there's so much stories also, and just like books and stuff and lore.
There's so much to cover. I don't want to call out the books. I don't want to call out the lore, and it's only because the books are not entirely cohesive with the like TV, the cinema.
Yeah. You know? But they're very good stories, though. I'll say that. They're very good stories. I think even technically, when George Lucas still owned it, he kind of let people play around with it. That's what I liked about it, is they let people like play around with the stories, and he's like, oh, I like that, you know? Especially with like Heir to the Empire with Luke, Leia, and Han, at least the older one. And I know they have a newer one for the Rebel characters, which I haven't read, but yeah.
But no, what I was gonna say is, I know the books, like you know, Dave Filoni, the man, the myth, the legend himself. I believe in his vision. Like, as far as I'm concerned, he's the new head of Star Wars, or should be. I know he has come out and said, like, he really likes the books, and there's a lot of the stuff that in these series, in these shows, and everything that, you know, he works on, they put some of these elements of the books into the shows.
Which I appreciate.
So that way, yeah, so it's like, no, it's not word for word canon, but that doesn't mean skip on this because we've dived a little away, you know? It's all different.
Yeah.
No, that means you should go check it out so you can be like, oh. So it's not so much of a mystery. Like, you know, the whole conversation we're having with Cody. Neither of us know how Cody dies. We're sure he does. All I know is he's like Imperial, not human affairs, was internal affairs. He's this badass assassin within the Empire taking out members of the Empire. You know, people who don't follow the rules. And that's kind of what he's playing into here in Bad Batch. It's not a word for word, but it plays into the story. And I'm excited to see how they adapt that. Like, it gives you an idea for the adaptation to happen in front of your eyes in the animation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll be really nice to see and work upon.
I'm curious to see how this all is going to build up for Heir of the Empire. Bringing everyone together. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah. If I'm sticking with Bad Batch, I don't see Bad Batch making it there. We've talked about, I've talked about the whole thing that I want Omega on Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I can't see maybe one one of the Bad Batch, like the actual clones. Maybe one of them making a live-action appearance at that point. Maybe one. But otherwise, I really don't see the Bad Batch getting involved with this whole heir to the Empire.
Because let's just assume, because we kind of have an idea who's probably going to be in the heir to the Empire. It's probably going to be Mando, more than likely. Grogu for sure. Can't see them being separated. That just doesn't make sense. Ahsoka. I'm assuming Ahsoka's probably going to be in there as well. With well, yeah, she would have to be.
Well,
they were kind of a part of the whole thing.
I'm not against it, but I feel like Ahsoka's interest really lines up more with where she is now. And mind you, I'm going to give some Ahsoka spoilers here, so heads up, take off if you're going to.
Spoilers, 3, 2, 1. Okay,
I'm already going. But Ahsoka being in the other galaxy right now, like, I'm sure they can find a way back. I'm sure they can get off the planet. I'm sure they can do something to get back. But I feel like there's a lot of plot that she needs to uncover here, especially if they continue the whole thing with the Bail. Or I know that's not his name. I can't think of it. I can't even think of the actor's name who passed away.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I know his face, but I don't know his name.
I know. I feel so bad because now I can't think of it. But
let me look it up. Keep going.
Okay. But I feel like they set up a lot with his character, a lot with that story, a lot with that universe. And if Ahsoka just comes back, what, we're gonna leave Sabine behind? Nah. If anyone's going home, it's Sabine. Sabine's gonna go see Ezra. Sabine's gonna go see her family. Not like her legitimate family.
It's Baylan Skull. It's Ray Stevenson.
Baylan. Okay, Baylan Skull.
Yeah.
Ray Stevenson. Yes.
Yes.
I like an ass for not remembering that.
It's okay.
Dude, I still love his character. But they set so much up with him. I feel like Ahsoka needs to stay there. And I feel like Ezra's the whole point of taking on Thrawn. Mando is part of the whole thing of taking on Thrawn. I'd love to say Kanan, and hell, I'd even love to say Zeb, but even then, like, I don't know how big they're actually going to play into this.
But it just wouldn't be the same with not having the whole Rebel crew together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. But that's why I say I think Sabine has to come back. And I know what you're saying about having the whole Rebel team back.
Yeah.
And you can even have, what's his name? Jason fill in for Kanan,
Yeah.
Like, I think that's something, and I can already see, like, reactors crying to it, and it'd be a real heartfelt moment, is if Ezra taught Jason how to use the Force, like Kanan taught Ezra how to use the Force.
That'd be interesting.
That already kind of brings a tear to my eye. Think about it. But, the whole thing is, I wish we saw Zeb in Ahsoka before we go on to say that we need the whole Rebel crew, because they intentionally did not add Zeb to the Ahsoka series. We had a whole point too, like when what's his name? I can't think of it. He just played Iroh in Avatar.
I know
that dude. He plays the Rebel pilot that helps them all the time.
Yeah.
When they went with Hera to that planet, like, Zeb could have just been one of the pilots. Like, he didn't even have to get out of his ship. But just knowing he's there at least gives us some inkling that the band's back together. So I'm just kind of like, like, are we actually gonna get Zeb back or not? And folks, I apologize. I know we've really tracked off of Bad Batch. And I apologize. And again, I apologize.
To be honest, this episode, just to be honest, this episode is very kind of cut and dry. The only kind of really theory we really can come up with really is what's the next episode going to be, because we both agree that the last two episodes, 14 and 15, are going to be them going to Tantus. And
that's going to be the big one.
So pretty much the next episode is probably them figuring out how they're going to get there and preparing for the big fight of a lifetime. So besides that, really, it's really kind of going to be interesting to see what happens. There's really not that much to theorize. So kind of talking about, like, because this is all leading up to a big plan for this Heir to the Empire thing, and it's kind of interesting to see what we think is going to happen, because especially with me, who's read, like I said, I'm reading the old Heir to the Empire books with Luke, Leia, and Han. And as I said, I've not read the new ones that have the Rebel crew in it. But reading the old ones, I'm kind of curious to see how they take the story, because I'm already on the third book right now, how they're going to take that story and kind of flip it with Heir to the Empire in a way. I'm kind of curious to see how it's going to play out, and what Thrawn's, like, plan is, because if you haven't read the books, pretty much Thrawn, he has to build an army. And that's what I'm assuming is what's going to happen in the movie, is he's going to build an army, because we already know he escaped from the end of Ahsoka. I'm sorry if I spoiled it. But he gets back to the galaxy that's far, far away. Long time ago. And
actually, that's our most up to date we've gotten, really, with Star Wars.
Yeah. So it's
not counting the sequels.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see what his plan is, because in the old books, there's a lot of things, but he kind of has the whole plan played out. I'm curious to see what, especially since they said they are going to be doing Ahsoka season 2. I'm assuming, yes.
Well,
or is it just, it's not been confirmed, but people are thinking it's going to happen?
I feel like it was confirmed before season 1 came out and before Stevenson passed away.
Okay.
But now, I know what a lot of people are petitioning for is that instead of recasting Balin, they simply go through with animation instead for season 2.
That wouldn't be bad, to be honest, either, to be honest.
Keeping him animated kind of gives us a little more, maybe even Clone Wars aspects to it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'm thinking it's going to be more like the original Clone Wars. 2D animated style.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I feel like that would fit really well, but I don't know. Yeah, I feel like it was confirmed before that this would have multiple seasons, and I feel like, you know, like the whole Netflix Marvel thing, like they have this roadmap planned out for all of this already. Yeah. So I feel like we will get more on Ahsoka. But that might even wait until we get the end, because, folks, the whole thing with this whole overarching story of Mando, Book of Boba Fett, we completely forgot to mention Book of Boba Fett in this arc.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's all those series. It's Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian.
But is Book of Boba Fett even getting a second season?
It was supposed to, yes.
Supposed to, but it wasn't confirmed.
I mean, back then, I believe so, yes. But that doesn't mean things can't
change. Yeah, because I know Book of Boba Fett didn't do that good, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, yeah, let's not do that anymore. Yeah. Which sucks.
I think there's potential, but they need to take another approach. Omega in the series, please.
Or I would say, if anything, instead of doing a Book of Boba, maybe bring Boba in on another series.
Well, yeah, that would help it.
That'd probably be a better thing, because I don't know if doing a whole season with Boba again, especially since the first season they had to bring in Mando.
That's what I was gonna say. That's why I was laughing. It'd be really great if for Mandalorian season 4, or however they plan to go, because folks, essentially it looks like Book of Boba and Ahsoka were supposed to get season 2. And then maybe a Mandalorian season 4. It would be the movie, because I do plan on doing a movie for this. for like the whole like rounding it all out.
Which is
Thrawn's
yeah,
confrontation.
which is what everyone's saying is supposed to be like the heir to the Empire.
Yes, style.
So the thing is that's interesting about it is that Ahsoka season 2, depending on how they go with it, if it's going to be all about her, and if like what you're saying that she kind of splits up from the group, and if I'm assuming they're also going to show the rebels, it would make sense to show both of them. I feel like Ahsoka season 2 might be the start of Heir to the Empire, because the Heir to the Empire, at least the older books, as I said, not the newer trilogy, it's pretty much the first 2 books is pretty much leading up to Thrawn building his empire, his new empire, building it up, getting ready to plan it. So I could see definitely Ahsoka season 2. We kind of start to see if it's involving the rebels, the rebel crew, of course. Like, but I could see it, the start of like Thrawn starting to build his like plan up, building the empire up. Because in the old books, it's a very interesting. They pretty much find like an area where there's tons of old, pretty much old Clone War ships, very old Clone War ships that pretty much a smuggler. The smuggler's the only guy that knows where they're at, and he's pretty much Thrawn comes to him and pretty much making a bargain with him to get those clone ships, because there's like hundreds of them. And I'm not going to spoil the book or anything, but one thing that pretty much at the end, pretty much Thrawn does get the ships, even though the Republic tries to get the ships from the smuggler. Thrawn pretty much his crew or his couple of Empire ships that are working for him, they pretty much the Republic. Not the Republic, but the rebels had to leave pretty much at the time because they were outmatched. Pretty much the one thing that was the big question was that Han and Luke were like, it's like, how in the world is he going to man all these fucking ships? You'd have to have like over hundreds of people to man one of these ships, which would make sense for a big freaking cruiser. Yeah, you'd have to have hundreds of people running it.
Well, now you're going to have zombies.
No, but there's a very interesting thing. He actually, talking about clones, Thrawn, as I said, I'm still reading the 3rd book, and I'm pretty sure it's going to explain it more of how he does it, because they kind of start figuring out this, is that Thrawn figures out a way to make clones. And the thing is, it's really interesting about it is that he's able to do it at a faster rate than the Kaminoans, which is really interesting. So that's how he's able to man all these ships. So now he has like this whole arsenal. So the thing is, with that being said, like I said, I haven't read the whole book. I'm on the last book, so I'm curious to see how it's going to end. How are they going to do Thrawn in this Heir to the Empire? As I said, I could think of Ahsoka season 2 being definitely like the steps, because
I feel like zombies.
Maybe, I don't know.
Especially in that exact instance.
Oh yeah,
like,
especially with the
with the end scene of Ahsoka.
Yeah, with the
all the caskets.
Yeah, and what are they called? The witches. They're just called witches,
that's
or
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
the Night Sisters.
The Night Sisters. That's what they're called, Night Sisters. Yeah. So yeah, I could definitely see that being something that they do. So I'm curious to see how it's going to play out. Is it going to play out? Like I said, I haven't read the 3rd books, but I'm kind of hoping they take pieces from the older trilogy with Luke and Leia. I don't care if they want to do the Rebel crew, which is probably what's going to happen. I can't see Luke being involved in it. I can't see Leia being involved in it. Han definitely can't see him involved in it. It's going to be more about the Rebel crew. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to play this out and how it's going to progress. There's also another character in the Heir to the Empire trilogy. There's actually a Sith user or Force user. I think he's technically known as a Sith. But actually, no. Luke says that he was actually a Jedi, but he is a Sith. So I'm not 100% know about like actually. I'm pretty sure he's a Sith, but I don't know his name.
Ask, who is this? You don't.
Okay. Hang on, let me look up the name because I know they say his name a couple times.
If you have to look it up, I'd say like don't tell me. But otherwise, if you're like, oh yeah, no, it's dude by this name. Like, I can tell you if I've heard this name.
But yeah, it's a very interesting because his whole premise through the whole series is he's trying to get Leia and Luke because he wants to train them to be Sith Lords. And you're like, well, why would Luke or Leia even ever want to do that? Well, the thing is in the book, Luke actually goes because Luke, he's always the one that's willing to help people and to find other Jedi because at the time he's the only Jedi besides Leia also who he actually trains a little bit in the ways of the Force in the books. So he goes and trains with this guy and Mara Jade. Oh, Mara Jade. I'm kind of hoping they do bring in some kind of cool character. I would like to see Mara Jade, but it just...
I think we are getting a Mara Jade something.
I hope so.
I'm pretty sure we are.
But the bad thing is, I feel like the only bad thing is if they do bring in Mara Jade, I just don't think it will be as good without Luke. You kind of have to have Luke in that if that's the case.
I mean, Andre, we brought this up on the channel before. I think even specifically last week.
Yeah.
Where, if they're gonna do anything with Mara Jade, period,
they have to have Luke.
They're gonna do Luke, and we've talked about the whole thing of like Sebastian Stan.
Yeah.
And playing Luke, because that's been something that's been tossed around. I know.
Didn't they have like? Did they have? I'm trying to think. How did they do it? Did they have like Mark Hamill like just do voice acting for that, and then they had
yeah. They had the dude stand in, and then they animated him to make him look more like Luke back then, but then voiced over with Hamill.
Okay, yeah, they could probably do that.
Well, mind you,
they could.
I respect them for what they did already with Luke, in which it's not too much.
Yeah.
Like they kept their respect. They even had scenes where you can't see Luke's mouth. You see the back of his head as he's talking. Like, that's a great way to not draw focus to that. I really don't think we need to delve further on that, making him a feature character without just simply recasting him. Because otherwise, you get something like that and this is going to take forever to make.
Yeah, I can see that. It costs a lot of fucking money.
And us as fans would be like, oh my god, look, Like, I don't mean to talk shit on stuff like The Boys, which is another series I really love. But The Boys had, 3 years between seasons?
Jesus.
As much as I love the show, it's a little long.
It does take a while.
A little long. So
damn, when are we going to get the next season? Shoot.
Actually, we're supposed to get that pretty soon.
Oh, thank God.
Because it sounds like what they did with The Boys was they started, they did season 1. Season 1 did good, so then they started season 2. And went from there. Not like what the Avatar series is doing, in which season 1 go, season 2 and 3 are already going. Like, I'm pretty sure season 2 for Avatar, The Last Airbender series, started before season 1 aired. So, they're still going with it to keep the kids young, to keep the cast the same, to do the story as they want to.
I'm curious to see. I'm talking about the Avatar series, Last Airbender series. I'm curious to see what they're going to cut. How are they going to difference from the animated series, especially with the lead writers and producer of the animated series not with the team anymore?
I honestly don't think that's really a problem. I don't.
It depends.
Mind you, a lot of that stuff you also got to chalk down as what's just media going too far and beyond. Because that simply could have been, hey, we finished writing the story. We're going to leave.
Yeah.
Maybe they did it. Maybe they completed their goal. They did exactly what they wanted to. And whether or not that's how it stayed afterward, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. You wouldn't really
But
even know until you actually ask them, or they say
or
something in a podcast
exactly
where they're like,
until
"We're so
until you
upset."
confront them. Exactly. But again, like I can't just be like, oh, they left, you know, for creative differences, or were they just done? And because we're the social media, we just want to spin it so people open this article.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, there's
They
a
left
lot
it a
of media
huff.
there that's like, I don't trust it. I don't.
One of them threw a chair at someone. Whoa.
Oh no!
Oh God.
So done. No.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff when it comes to the writing that's like.
Back to Star Wars because we split off our topic. Yeah. So Heir of the Empire is going to be interesting. How he's going to combine everything together. Who's all going to be involved in it?
Actually, our topic is Bad Batch.
I know, but we're going back to Star Wars because I don't know, like, unless there's anything else you want to talk about with Bad Batch, I can't really think of anything. It's kind of just this last episode, and actually, no, we could, if we want to, if we're near the end, we could look up the name of the next episode.
We do still need to do that, and I do still want to do that, but we can save that for. Well, actually, we're in the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, we're
Why
definitely.
don't we do that? We're actually, it's probably a little closer to 20 minutes, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do that. I feel like we can come up with something. We've talked a lot anyway on the episode as it was.
So the last episode, or the next episode, and not the last one, episode 13. The name of it is Into the Breach. That's our name. Into the Breach.
Into the Breach. That's got my mind in a lot of different places right now. Not in a bad way. Like, I like everything I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, when I think Into the Breach, that's kind of like Into the Fire.
Like what Gandalf says, out of the fry pan and into the fire. Rotten.
You can go there.
No, I'm sorry. I had to go there. I'm sorry. But yeah.
But no, otherwise I'm thinking like this could be more of an angle where it's like into action, or they're taking action with this.
Yeah.
And so I'm immediately thinking that once again we're kind of on the offensive. We're doing something a bit more outlandish for this.
Into the Breach.
Yeah. Because all in all, it's really standing out to me that with Into the Breach. God damn. Sorry, I'm yawning a lot, folks.
Your yawns are contagious.
Okay.
Your yawns are contagious, man. Damn.
Well, I mean, that's just yawning.
Yeah, I know. Very
But
contagious.
otherwise, Into the Breach can also mean exploiting a weakness. Which makes sense. You know, the whole point is Rampart has an idea for how they can get the thing. And again, you know, just to even double back on this idea, Rampart says we are in this together. Like, he's got something to gain from this option.
I'm curious to see what it is that he's gonna gain from it.
Or like, how does he benefit? Yeah.
So.
Or why is he specifically in it now?
So I'm assuming that their minds are wiped if they know where the location, or they just probably have no idea what the location is because they're very confidential. Rampart.
Oh, you know, I suppose that is an avenue to explore. And
I said I have no idea.
You remind me of something. A note I saw about why it's not Tech in the suit. Why Tech is not the Shadow.
I'm not gonna give up until I see it.
No, one of it was he forgot Pabu. Forgetting Tantus is one thing, but forgetting how to get to Pabu is another.
His memory could have been wiped.
To what extent, though?
I don't know. That's
You know what I mean? Like
it's like a
probably
brainwashing
was like
kind
their
of thing.
home. I mean, I know what brainwashing is. But
Well, I know. I'm just
saying,
trying to think. I'm trying to think of a reason to explain it because, like, you could technically believe it. You know, I don't know. I don't know. Uh, I can see him forgetting about it.
I really couldn't. I feel like that'd be the one thing that would be like, I've been here. I know this place. Why do I know this place? You know, if that's the case. Because, like, that was his home. That was where him and Fee were gonna, like, start a family. Or not start a family, but, you know, like, they were gonna have their own fun, settle down.
Have their own fun. Yes.
So it just makes me wonder, you know.
If it is tech, I don't know. Maybe it is probably Commander Cody, but
I'm so positive it's Cody.
we're gonna
That's
find
like-
out probably
my
next
mind.
episode. I would assume.
I actually do feel really confident that they're going after the Shadow next week.
Shout out! Oh, I gotta watch that.
I'm
Fall
sure if I
series.
really want to, I could look up a trailer for the next episode. But
You
I really
could.
don't.
But I know you don't want to.
I just don't want to because, like, even if it's a bland episode, I still want to be surprised.
Since you did watch the other one, were you surprised after watching the trailer for it?
Okay, no. Like, knowing the trailer and knowing the name of the episode, I put it together.
You pretty much ruined the episode for yourself. You're like, damn it.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons I watched it, because I knew the scene already.
Oh.
And Andre, if anything, you spoiled it. You're telling me the name of the episode?
Wait, well, you told me you wanted to, okay?
I know.
You have more of the knowledge, so you're piecing everything together, and I'm just like, I don't know. I guess I'll see. Well, I'm not gonna lie. If I'd known it was that vehicle, I could have been like, oh,
vehicle.
okay. Like the Juggernaut, I'd be like, oh, they're gonna be in a Juggernaut? Interesting.
Yeah, because otherwise I'm thinking Wrecker, of course, Wrecker.
The Juggernaut.
Vehicle.
And no, we're not talking about the Marvel character, Juggernaut.
I was thinking more Call of Duty, but I like where your head's at.
I completely forgot who Juggernaut was until like I was searching it up on the
How
internet.
did you forget the Juggernaut, bitch?
You gotta understand, man. Like I'm more of a DC fan. I grew up with DC, so
Andre was making a reference.
oh, damn it.
Yo, I think it's X-Men 3. You know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch! And he
Oh, yeah.
charges at her.
Oh yeah, oh Juggernaut. It's so funny.
There's that whole scene. I love that scene.
I miss those X-Men movies.
They were amazing.
They were good for what they were for back when they came out.
Yeah, that's very true.
I don't think they aged well.
To the bat.
But but back to Bad Batch. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens next episode.
Yeah, with Into the Breach, I just think exploiting a weakness. I think jumping headfirst into hell.
Omega's gonna be like discovering her new home, her fellow.
Well, I'm sure on that
Testes.
side of it, yes. I'm not. Here's the thing. I'm not focusing on Omega and Hemlock, and that's just because it's like knowledge I feel like we already put together as an audience.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, you know, the prisoners are gonna bond, and
It's not important. Like what's more important is what's going on with the Bad Batch, Cody, Echo.
that's where the action is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of like where our hearts are. Is there?
What about Emery though? Her character is developing slowly.
I'm gonna forget you said that.
I'm sorry. I agree with Ever. I feel like it is too late. She's literally got 3 episodes. 3 episodes for us to give a care about her, and I just don't. Even though we kind of did come up with an idea that maybe she doesn't know exactly what the research she's doing and how it affects the kids.
I kind of forgot we talked about that.
We did talk about that, and that was something, last week. And it was like near the end of the episode. But yeah, that would be the one redemption arc. We would be like, okay, I can understand Emery for, like not fully understanding what's going on and what's actually happening, which I could definitely see that because she's more of a scientist being like, I want to test. I want to be helpful.
Like she would give up on the research if she knew it's being used in this way.
Yes.
Which, I suppose, a whole nother aspect that you then have to question is, how does she feel about the Empire?
I don't know.
Because if she sees the Palpatine or Sidious or however labeled Emperor as a god, a king, an emperor, then of course she wants Project Necromancer to succeed. I
don't even think she really understands what Project Necromancer is.
Well, no, but I get that. But I'm saying, let's say she finds out. It's not going to matter if she likes the Empire.
Yeah.
Because if she likes the Empire, oh my god, now I have reason to do this research. If anything does happen to him, we can bring him back. It's that simple.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I almost even feel like she's looking more towards a evolutionary tale. Or at least that's where I would try and reason with it, where it's like, okay, if we can transfer midichlorians to other people, we could create an entire generation of people who are nothing but Force users.
That's overpowered as hell.
But no, I'm not saying it's overpowered at all. I'm saying that's like a next level in our evolution.
Oh, yeah.
As even a species or however. I mean, I know that's too far into it, I'm sure. But I feel like it's an avenue that can or could be explored.
Or be completely crushed.
Yeah, I really don't see it going too far, unfortunately.
I don't see Hemlock's work with the or his involvement in. Well, okay, never mind. Let me rephrase that. I think his involvement might help with the Project Necromancer, but Hemlock's time with the project, I think, will come to an end.
Oh, yeah.
Is the best way I could say it. Because I think his research, whatever he does find out, it's still... Because what I've heard, I haven't read any of the books, but I've heard that there is, in some of the books, where they do clone Sidious and stuff. So Project Necromancer could still live on. But I think Hemlock, like I said, Hemlock's definitely involvement in his research
we've
will...
talked about that before in previous episodes.
Yeah.
So... where... We've talked about where, right now, this moment and the whole, thing with even, what's his name? Tarkin.
General Tarkin.
Bringing it up with Tarkin where he's like, if you don't, bear any fruit, we don't see anything good from you, there's no reason to keep giving you all these assets, because it looks like you're not doing anything. They could abandon the project entirely for it to then succeed. Kind of like the whole issue with Rogue One.
Oh yeah.
Director Krennic, the Death Star, that kind of got taken, not out of context, but it was undermined for what was. Yeah. Until they're like, fine, you want to test the weapon? Test the weapon. Blast the planet.
Huh? Damn it, they did.
Yeah, they did. They tested the weapon. on themselves.
And they died. A lot of people died.
A lot of people died.
Even our heroes.
Yeah,
Spoiler,
which I
sorry
mean,
about that.
I was never attached to those characters
Yeah,
to begin with, but
to be honest, yeah, like, no offense for the movie, it just, I think also just, there wasn't enough time to really develop the characters for us to actually care about them, to be honest.
that's fair. That's fair.
But I bet they did have enough time, they probably could have made us care. Maybe, I don't know. It's also, it involves the writing, but I did like Rogue One. That was actually one of the Star Wars new movies that's come out that I've actually enjoyed, to be honest.
Yeah. I know that was around the time that I was just kind of like about Star Wars. I still held stuff like Republic Commando near and dear to my heart, but like Clone Wars, I wasn't 100% on. But like I did like Clone Wars. Like I would love to watch Clone Wars. The animation style alone was so cool. But otherwise, like Rogue One, I didn't care enough, and that's just because like I didn't care for Star Wars enough time.
I did not know
So I
that,
don't know.
actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I probably didn't get into Star Wars. Let's see. I actually sat down and watched all of the Clone Wars and all of Rebels. Because there's a funny story there. But I watched all of Clone Wars, I think, 2019.
Oh, wow.
Well, mind you, I saw all of Clone Wars, I'm pretty sure, or most of every episode back then. Like
Okay.
when, it was actually coming out week to week.
Okay, yeah.
But then
That
I
was the same
actually
with me.
watched through it and cared in 2019, getting ready for the announcement of season 7.
Oh, yeah.
But then there's the whole issue with, like Mando. Mando came out. Mando, which I mean, I was a fan of Star Wars, I'd say, before Mando, but I can't nail it to anything in particular other than Clone Wars. I did grow up watching Rebels, though. Like Rebels, I watched week to week. And so the funny story with Rebels is I watched all the way to the season 3 finale, like where Thrawn and them attacked the Rebel base, and everyone had to go their separate ways, and like just before the final season.
See,
it wasn't until 2019 when I was in college, or at my at Missouri Western, like getting ready for grad school, or not grad school, I don't know what to call it, but my last 2 years for my bachelor's, and I was sitting with some pals of mine, and we were talking about Star Wars, and that was one of the things that came up was Rebels. I was like, yeah, I'm sad they never finished the show. And they're like, what do you mean they never finished the show?
Did
you not see
the show?
and like they were talking about it, like, yeah, dude, season 4 came out. What do you mean season 4 came out? I didn't know season 4 came out. I never knew this. And so I immediately watched all of Rebels all over again. Or I watched all of Rebels. I watched everything I needed to catch up on. Or I felt like I needed to catch up on.
Yeah. See,
so that way I could actually like enjoy it.
I don't think I ever watched Rebels when it was being aired on TV. Clone Wars, yes, I remember watching that with my dad. That was like, our mom, my brother. Actually, I think both my brothers, actually, if I'm thinking correctly. I know specifically Armand, my brother, we watched it with my dad every Sunday when a new episode came out. Rebels I didn't watch until I think it was you that told me about it. and then I just benched it on Disney Plus.
Sorry, what show?
Rebels.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because I never watched it. It was interesting to me. I think is when you were telling me about. That's when I was like, you know what, I'll watch it, and I watched it, and I got really into the series. But I've always been into Star Wars because of my dad. He showed us the original trilogy,
Hmm.
and then we went to see all the prequels in theaters when they came out. So I've always been a big Star Wars fan. Now, when Disney took over, that's when I was excited, like most people, because you're thinking about
Yeah.
it with a big company who has like lots of money and a lot of resources compared to George, who he's running his own company and he's kind of doing that. You think, oh, it might be pretty cool. I'm trying to think what were the first movies that came out. Rogue One was the one that I liked. I did not like the Han Solo movie, the Solo movie. That was bad. I did like some of the actors that were in the movie, though. I'll give it that, but
Yeah.
I didn't like the Solo movie at all. Just didn't. And I did like that they had the little cameo with Darth Maul in it. That was kind of cool at the end of it.
See, and that's something I wanted to go back with was the whole thing with Maul in Rebels. Dude, that was so fun. It was so fun seeing Maul in Rebels
Maul.
trying to coax Ezra into being a dark side user.
And he almost fell for it. He almost fell.
Well, I mean, mind you, why not? Why not go for it
Yeah.
in his situation? It's not like he really knew which way to really lean.
Yeah. And see that's why I like Ezra. It's a very interesting character now with like Ahsoka. I like the Ahsoka series. But the thing is, I feel like you can't really enjoy or appreciate Ahsoka without having to watch Rebels. You have to watch Rebels
Yeah.
to really appreciate these
absolutely.
characters.
Ahsoka is just Rebels season 5, really,
Yeah,
when you think about it.
live action.
Yes.
But we still don't know where Zeb is in all this, though.
Sad.
Yeah,
Very sad.
he'll probably pop up. I would assume he'd be probably in. He'll show up eventually.
You know what's really sad?
Huh.
Rebels did a lot that I still hold very Rebels had a lot that was very new, very bold, I feel like.
Hmm.
That I feel like got underrated when these elements in the show went very underrated for what they were and how innovative they were. Like, for instance, a lot of the stuff in Rebels, and I've talked about it before here on the channel, I'm positive, but with Rebels, all the character designs, all the, like, new species of aliens we see, all the new different types of droids we see, those were all designs by, I believe it's the Ralph McQuarrie artist. And, like, those were original designs of, like, Han, Luke, R2-D2, C-3PO. So, like, Zeb was the original Chewbacca. I believe Kanan is actually the original concept for Han. Chopper is the original concept for R2-D2. We talked about him here on the channel before. The protocol droid who does inventory for them. I can't remember his name. It's something 9. I want to say like K9.
Probably K9.
Not K9. That's not right. They don't even call him K9.
He's K9 to us.
No. But he's the protocol droid who talks like this, and he's just like really. He's the C-3PO. He's literally the C-3PO original concept art.
Oh,
But
yeah.
he's the C-3PO to Chopper's R2-D2. I feel bad because I keep trying to remember his name. But yeah, all these characters, they have great design. They're great concepts. They're old concepts brought anew by this new generation. I
Mm-hmm.
can't remember. There's also a lot where like there were different spiders in the Rebel series than there are in the Mando series. Mando series, I believe, is actually the Ralph McQuarrie version versus the one in Rebels, which isn't the Ralph McQuarrie version of the spiders, because one's in the desert, one's in the ice.
Oh yeah.
And again, there's a lot of those cool things. And another premise that I feel like went completely under the radar, Ezra's lightsaber. The first one he built. Why have we not gotten more cool
Oh
shit
yeah,
like that?
because it's a blaster and
A blaster
a
saber.
blaster
Like,
saber.
dude,
That
that's
is
so
pretty
cool.
cool. Yeah.
Why couldn't we have gotten something like that in Jedi Survivor? Can you imagine?
That'd be pretty broken.
Would it?
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't think
it'd
it
be pretty
would.
cool. It'd be pretty cool. Maybe we will in the High Republic. I have no idea. Actually, maybe. I don't know. I'm probably not gonna watch the Acolyte. I'll watch it for the podcast.
Wait. Were you
But-
not watching?
The Acolyte. I don't know. Do you want to watch the Acolyte?
I'm going to. I know.
Okay. We'll do it for the podcast. For the
There,
podcast.
some things there at least fun to check out. But there's a lot there that I'm also very. I don't know how to accept or approach yet.
Yeah. That's my problem. I'm more excited for the Tales of the Empire. That's more of an exciting
Oh,
series.
for sure with Bears Offie.
Yeah, we get to see where
Dude.
she ends up in all this, which is something that's really interesting because we don't know
Yeah.
absolutely at all where she ends
Yeah.
up in all this when the Empire is forming and takes over and stuff. Because all we know from, if you guys remember in Clone Wars, is that she pretty much gets arrested, and she's the one that is the true culprit when Ahsoka was being accused, which led her to pretty much running away. And then when they found out it was her, and Ahsoka was like, "Oh, you're not accused anymore," and Anakin's just like, "Come back," and she's like, "Nah, I'm good." Well, she wasn't like that, but she's like, "Nah, I'm good. Like I'm not coming back." Which I don't blame her. That in that whole instance, I don't blame her. It's like everyone was out together except for, of course, Anakin. He had faith in her. But everyone turned against her.
Which is funny, because I feel like they absolutely could have caught her a lot sooner.
Oh yeah.
And they just didn't. They didn't care enough.
There was
And
so
Andre,
much more
I wanna
important
point
things going
out-
on.
I want to point out, and I'm sorry to say this audience, the time.
Oh yeah, it is the time. Damn. Okay, yeah.
So,
This has been a fun little talk.
yeah, we've gone over a lot more than Bad Batch today, and apologies for it, because I'm sure some of you at least are here for Bad Batch stuff. But we know that you guys that like to ask your questions about everything Star Wars. We're happy to share.
Yes. So it's exciting to see what's going to happen the next couple episodes about Batch and what Star Wars is going to bring us in the next couple months, years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Either it'll be garbage or actually pretty good.
Yep.
But I think this will be the end of it. So goodbye, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll be.
Without further ado.
Oh yeah, reminder, because I know I said this at the beginning.
Yes.
We are going to be doing our streams differently. Starting next week, Monday, we're gonna probably stream it on Twitch. And the way we're gonna have to do it is we're gonna probably be streaming it from. We're gonna be streaming it from probably my Xbox, and so we're gonna be playing something while talking. We'll figure that out. I'll talk to Spartan about that. Figure out what game we'll play or.
Oh, I was gonna say, did we got play anything?
Well, we could be in a game and not have to do anything, but that would probably be the best
I didn't
thing.
say even. I didn't say otherwise. Just like the just chatting, you know. Because that is the whole thing in Twitch too.
Well, I mean, like, the thing is that if I'm streaming, I don't think you could stream without being in some kind of game on the Xbox. That's the thing. Because the only other way I could do it is I would have to get a game capture card and stuff like that. So that's the other thing, the pickle I'm in. So, if we did do a Star Wars game, though, I would have to mute the music completely. Because it will fucking it'll get copyright striked like that. So we'll figure out. It could be, I don't even care, even if we did Destiny or something like that. We just did the new Horde mode.
Ah, dude, the new Horde mode's great.
Because we can do that without. I'm pretty sure you could do that without having to really like think about what you're doing. You could just like, okay,
very true.
So we could probably do that. That'd be something we were thinking. So we'll let you know. We'll be doing it on Twitch. I'll put up a post, a reminder to let everyone know, and when it starts with the link and everything about that. But that's how we're going to be doing our podcasts, and then I will upload the video to YouTube until I can get this sorted out and stuff. Which, as I said, I don't know how long it's going to take. It's going to take probably a bit, but yeah.
Folks, we hope it's not necessarily a permanent thing. Just know we can get stuff figured out here.
But if it explodes on Twitch, then we might keep it on Twitch and just upload it to YouTube. But I doubt that's going to happen. So, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for dealing with our crash and everything. And with only 3 episodes left of Bad Batch, we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye. Yep.